Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. My name is Nick Park, and I recently came across an article online about a church in the northwest of England that had been refused planning permission for a new building. Now, the church is called the Bamber Bridge Pentecostal Church. It's near Preston in the northwest of England, and I used to live up in that area for 5 years. Janice and I lived in a place called Lee, Lancashire, and Preston was just up the motorway from us. I believe it was the M62 we had to go up. But I've actually visited Bamber Bridge Pentecostal Church and worshipped there in the past. But anyway, the church was refused planning permission from the local council for a new building. And the reason is because the church has been doing well. It's been growing, and their building is now too small for them. And they realized trying to sort of tinker with the building or just add little extensions and all wasn't going to work, that they needed to knock the whole thing down and just build a much bigger building in its place. And they were refused planning permission because quite a lot of people objected. They just said that the building would be too big for the town and for the area. Bamber Bridge is not a huge place. It's got a population of about 40,000 people. And this church, basically, it's like they're saying it's grown too big. It's become too successful in sharing the gospel in its area, which is a real problem. But what a great problem to have. And some of the objections were quite funny. I mean, there was somebody actually objected where they went to great length to praise the church for their growth and success and what a blessing they were being, but they still didn't want the new building to be built because it was too big. So they want there to be a growing, successful church there, but apparently don't want them to have a building that's large enough for them to grow and be successful. So they still objected. Now, this is actually more common than a lot of people realize. There is a narrative presented today that basically religion's declining, Christianity is declining, everyone's leaving the church, nobody worships God anymore. There's just all these empty churches all over the place and little huddled groups of people together. In fact, at one time, there was a movement going on where people in the media were talking about secularization, and they were saying that as Western Europe became more secular, that places like Britain and Ireland would see less and less people going to church, less and less people being passionate about their faith in God, and that you would just get a few elderly people huddled together in little small groups slowly dying out. And of course, that's not the case at all. There's a massive interest in faith. There's loads of people who, even great percentages of young people that say they do attend places of worship, who say that they do want to find out more about having a personal relationship with God. And so the situation with the Bamber Bridge Pentecostal Church is the good problem that they're having, in that they've become too big for their area and for their building, is a problem that we see repeated over again and again. You know, I see it many times in Ireland as somebody who's involved in leading a group of churches and leading ministries and such like. I do find again and again churches that are struggling to accommodate growth, that their buildings are too small, that they can't find a building. New churches start up and are desperately seeking somewhere to worship because they've outgrown their current facilities. Growth isn't easy. Growth can bring its own whole set of problems, but it is God's will for his church to grow. Why? Because the church is alive, and growing and living things grow. Animals, when they're born, they grow. Plants grow. Trees grow. I look at my garden. In the garden of my house, I've got these little bushes. I put them in. I got them from the garden centre. They were like 6 inches high, and now they're massive. Like some of them are 20 feet high. But why? Because they're alive, and living things grow. And the Church of Jesus Christ is alive and growing. Yeah, that'll be problems. We got to find creative ways to work around that. How can we keep accommodating the numbers of people that want to come and worship? Sometimes we have to start multiple services. Sometimes we have to lease bigger buildings and whatever else. That's never easy. It's expensive. But the fact is, these are great problems to have, because the Church of Jesus Christ is growing. God bless you today. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.